It's Kevin from Gravewurm, and today I'm going to talk about some of the releases starting in 2010, which were on Hells Headbangers Records. Blood of the Pentagram. This album was pretty weird to record because I spent a lot more time writing the songs than on previous albums. And in a few years before this, I was starting to become friends with the brothers that ran Hells Headbangers. And I know they had a good working relationship with Nunslaughter, who I've been friends with since we were in college, specifically Dawn of the Dead. And so I figured I'd ask them, hey, you guys interested in doing a Gravewurm release? This was going to be my last release. I was going to end Gravewurm. And the reason for that was I was honestly just getting kind of burnt out with it. Having different lineups for shows, people in the lineups not being as enthusiastic as I'd hoped, us not getting on bigger shows or just getting, I don't know, more recognition perhaps at the time. So I wanted to start a new band where I was not the main songwriter, where I was not a guitarist. I just wanted to play bass, maybe do backing vocals. So, jumping ahead there. So let's go back. Blood of the Pentagram was going to be the final album, and it was marketed as such. Hells Headbangers contacted several magazines at the time, websites to do interviews, and it was treated as the final album. The album had mixed reception. Some people liked it, some thought it was just too primitive again. This is 2010. A lot of the brutal, slammy death metal stuff was all over the underground scene and even into the mainstream extreme scene. So people didn't know quite how to take dealing with Gravewurm, as they thought it was just too primitive or just not professional enough or whatever their take was on it. So, and also to do something special for this release, as it would be the proposed final release, I put together a special bonus disc. Blood of the Pentagram, the Rare and Unreleased. This was the first time I had compiled the Bestial Hordes EP from 2002, the songs that appeared on the Carnivorous Marketing EP 2003, and then 10 unreleased tracks ranging from 2002 up to 2010. These initially came as a limited 100 in a special metal tin, circular case, if you will, and a patch, embroidered patch, the first Gravewurm patch ever be made. Demons from Hell design, which was also the first shirt. These sold pretty well, from what I remember, pretty quickly. And reception was hit and miss with it. But Hells Headbangers seemed to be okay with the release, and we just move on from there. As always, kept writing and recording it with a maddening fever as usual. There was no slowing down, but finding other musicians to start up a new band was very difficult. The previous members from Gravewurm were interested in the idea of a new band, but they had little to nothing to offer in ways of writing new songs or performing outside of their duties of what they performed in Gravewurm. So after about 4 to 6 months of looking and just trying to write some stuff, it just was too similar to Gravewurm. So there was no point in 2010 going into 2011 to stop doing Gravewurm, as long as I was the vocalist and guitarist and songwriter. It just sounded like Gravewurm. And there's those few songs that were written for that proposed band, which was going to be called Arachnia. Logo was drawn by Mark Riddick of underground metal fame. Those songs were reworked a little bit and later became full-fledged Gravewurm songs. And the next release is when I started Funeral Empire Records. Those did 2 releases at first. The split CD with Wintress, Grim Horizons, and the Digipack Netherfeed full-length release, 2011. That was the first appearance of the band label logo. So these releases were pretty interesting because Wintress was a side project of the original Gravewurm bassist, Blood. These songs were written and recorded in the early 90s as he had creative outlets that didn't quite fit with the style of music Gravewurm was creating at the time. So he made his own separate band. And I thought this was a cool way to commemorate those songs and to put out more Gravewurm songs. The Netherfiend album, I was initially hoping to have on Hells Headbangers, but they just weren't ready for another full length the next year. So that's why I decided to start my own label. The labels I had been in contact with previously in the underground, a lot of them had closed shop or were no longer interested in doing business with Gravewurm. And I had a good enough job that I could afford to press my own CDs at the time. So that's how it all came about. So that's it for that chapter, and we'll find out some more stuff the next time. Cheers.